Let's go live back to Auckland, the Labor Party headquarters. Jackson Williams is with me. I've just looked at the New Zealand Electoral Commission and it's nearly 60%, 57.8% to be precise, of the vote counted. And Jacinda Ardern heading for well over 60 seats. The projection is well over 60 seats in a parliament of 120.
Yeah, that's right. A slight dip in Labor's vote since we last spoke. Now at 49.4%. That is still an incredible result for Labor, and it would see them hold 64 seats in Parliament, 61 needed to be able to govern alone. So the Labor Party well on track to be able to do that. The discussion heading into this election has not centred around whether it'll be Labor or National leading the next government. It's really been whether Labor can secure enough support to be in a position to govern alone, or will need the support of other parties, as is typically the case, as has always been the case actually under the electoral system MMP. But Labor on track for a historic, thumping victory in the 2020 New Zealand election. A short time ago, I caught up with David Parker, a senior minister.
Oh, absolutely. A landslide to Labor. Fantastic result for the New Zealand Labor Party. I think we're being rewarded for not just COVID response to the health crisis, but the economic response. Interestingly, I had someone come up to me in South Auckland today and say that the number of homeless people in South Auckland is noticeably down compared with where it was 3 years ago. So some of our social programs starting to work too.
At this point of the night, the opposition National Party have 26.7% of votes, with close to 60% of votes counted across the country. Simply put, this is a disastrous result for New Zealand's National Party, which for the past 3 years has been the biggest party in Parliament. The party's former leader, Simon Bridges, who was rolled earlier this year, he says these results are grim. We'll listen now to Jerry Brownlee, who could lose his own seat in Christchurch. He is the current deputy leader of the National Party.
Well, yeah, it is a tough night, obviously, but you know, it's not over till it's over, and yeah, this is how democracy works. It's been a very interesting election, somewhat dominated, or totally really dominated by the COVID-19 effect. And you know, we saw a 180-degree turnaround of the polls back in April, and it's just got better for the current government ever since. So, you know, it's been a good campaign in lots of ways, but some of the issues that might normally be talked about simply haven't been on the table.
As for some of the minor parties, Libertarian Party ACT as well as the Green Party, both with just shy of 8% of the vote. That is well above the 5% threshold parties need to make it into Parliament. It's not the case for New Zealand First, the party that has been part of the government for the past 3 years here in New Zealand, led by Winston Peters. As it currently stands, they've secured just 2.5% of the vote. So Winston Peters and his New Zealand First colleagues will be out of Parliament. Mr Peters, a political veteran here in New Zealand, spoke a short time ago. It was an extremely short speech. Nonetheless, it was a very dignified one.
For 27 years, there's been one party that's been prepared to question the establishment and challenge authority. And tonight, more than ever, that force is still needed. For in any challenge, it is the preparedness to stand up and take on the challenge, win or lose, that really matters. And as for the next challenge, we'll all have to wait and see.
Kieran, in the words of Labor's, as we heard from the Labor Minister earlier, this is a landslide victory. As for when Jacinda Ardern is set to arrive here at Auckland's Town Hall, no indication yet. Of course, when she does arrive, when she does speak to party faithful gathered here, we'll have the full speech live here on Sky News.
Yes, we will indeed, and she has got 60% of the vote now counted, and just shy of 50% of the vote to New Zealand Labor, and they're heading for a projected 64 seats, so governing in their own right. It is a fantastic night for Labor in New Zealand and for Jacinda Ardern.